Hey everybody, welcome back. I'm Evan.
And I'm Grayson.
And here we are again with another episode in our ongoing series here on YouTube where we're counting down our top 3 games for every letter of the alphabet. This week, what letter is it?
It's the G's, the me G's.
The Grayson G's. That is correct. All right, well, let's get right to it. What do you think?
Well, what's your number 3?
Oh, my number 3. I almost forgot here. My number 3 is a dexterity game. Okay, it's a it's a really silly dexterity game, and it's called Garbage Day. Yeah. All right. So Garbage Day is this little game where you're like roommates in a house, and nobody wants to take out the trash.
So you gotta stack the cards on the trash can.
Right. There's a little plastic trash can that sits in the middle of the table, and everybody has a hand of cards with all this weird stuff that everybody's throwing away.
Because it's just junk.
Right. Well, and odd things, because there's tons of expansions and promos that we have all those.
Yeah.
But anyway, so you stack it on top of this this trash can, and it goes out, and then when it falls, the person who made it fall has to take those, and they're negative points at the end of the game. And it's a really silly game.
Yeah, it's pretty silly.
But it is also a lot of fun, just trying to stack these cards farther out and out and trying to fill that trash can up as much as you can without making it fall and hoping that it falls on the next person.
Where you go is it gonna fall? It's gonna... Come on, it fell.
Yep. Super silly, super fun. That's my number 3, Garbage Day.
My number 3 is another really silly game called Garden You'll Go.
Oh my gosh, that game's so goofy.
It's a silly game where either you're a bunny or like a gerbil or whatever.
Yeah, there's 3 animals that are fishing, right?
And then there's one person who's this watchman guy, where he places the watchman token on these stacks that you're trying to hunt for.
Right.
And then, because he's the guy that says, no, protect the sea life.
Right. So there's 3 different animals
stacks.
fishing, right? And they each have stacks of cards underneath them, right? Mm-hmm. And then you have to everybody simultaneously selects which one they're gonna fish at. But then, like you said, there's somebody that protects
the watchman.
it. The watchman protects one of the stacks. So then everybody flips over, and they get to take eels, because you're fishing for eels, from this
Garden
stack.
eels.
But then sometimes there's a shark, right?
That will come up and eat them, and then you fish up poops.
Yeah, then the eels get pooped out, and they're bizarre-looking eel poops.
It's silliness.
Totally silliness. Yeah, super silly game, but it's a lot of fun and super quick.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. All right. Garden Eel Go. That's your number 3. All right. Well, my number 2 is a roll and write. And it's a game called Lagrange no Siesta.
Never played that one.
You haven't, but it's one of my favorite roll and writes. Even though it's a little more complex than your average roll and write, there's a sheet of paper. It's still a small sheet of paper, but you also have other things that get added to the sheet of paper, tokens and chits and stuff. Where basically you're running a farm and you're trying to get these goods to ship them out. And you do that by, one person rolls the dice, and then everybody takes 1 die in turn order, and I think they get re-rolled too in between. But anyway, and then you use those dice resources, which are pigs and donkeys and olives, and then there's also coins, and you use that stuff to build roofs on your farm, and hire workers that have special powers to help fill these things up. And then you're trying to ship out these goods long distance, or you're trying to ship them out to the close distance market, or you're trying to fill up your little stables and barns, and everything just gets you points, because there's just points everywhere in this game. And then also there's on one of the die faces there's a hat, and the hat represents the nap, and the naps are the timer. Wake up. And then the naps are the timer. So when someone hits the top of the siesta track, that's when the game ends. So if you want the game to end quickly, you can sit there and take lots of naps. But then you got to make sure you have enough points to win the game.
Yeah.
So that's Lagrange no Siesta, my number 2.
And if anyone is confused, la is the.
Yes, in Spanish. Yes, it's because I think Lagrange is the farm, I believe. So yeah.
So, and my number 2 is Gudetama, the Tricky Egg Card Game.
Yep.
It's another silly little game because like the Gudetama is like a Japanese a lazy Japanese egg.
Yeah, he sure is. Super lazy.
And I do like all the little art on it. It's really silly. And some of them are really funny, but and like the 1 and the 14 have like special powers that are activated if those are the cards that win the trick. Because those are like, it depends on who leads the who's the lead, which is the first person to put the card for the next round.
Right, and the person who plays the last card takes the trick. Is that correct?
Wins the trick.
And you don't want to win the trick in this game.
Because then you score the points.
And you don't want to score points in this game.
But if you play the 1 for the winning trick, then everybody scores the points.
Okay.
Because that's the 1 special power.
To make everybody else take the points.
And
take their points.
For the 14, you get to choose who's the lead for the next round. It can't be you though.
Yeah, that's a really fun, like really simple trick taking game.
We don't play that many, but
no, not that many trick taking games. A few, but that's a really simple one that pretty much anybody can understand, right? Yeah, good game, good pick. Are we up to number 1 already?
Yeah.
All right. Can you guess what number 1 is?
It's got to be Gloom.
Yeah, it's a really big box down there, and you can't miss it. But number 1 is Gloomhaven, which I mean everybody knows what Gloomhaven is at this point, right?
Yeah.
So basically, it's a huge box full of all kinds of like map tiles and characters and books and cards and all kinds of junk that you have this epic multi-game adventure. We've been playing this game for probably like 3 years at this point. We've probably played 75 games.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, I know. We've beaten the main game, even though there's still scenarios left.
Yeah.
And then we're into this expansion at this point, which is even maybe a little harder and a little trickier than the base game. But it's really fun having these characters and evolving these characters over time, like improving their decks and improving their attack decks. And just going around the map. Most scenarios are just kill something, but sometimes there's puzzles and stuff too. And then as your character progresses, eventually they retire, and then you get a new character that you build back up and do it all over again. It's a super fun game that we've had a lot of fun with. I mean, it's the number 1 game on BGG and all that stuff, and everybody knows what Gloomhaven is at this point.
Yeah. So
that's my number 1.
I've never played Gloomhaven, but I have watched you guys play it a few times.
Yeah, it's a good time. My number 1, Gloomhaven.
And my number 1 is Ghost Fighting Treasure Hunters.
Yeah. I knew that was going to be on your list. Yep.
It's kind of like a sort of pandemic style game where
it's cooperative.
Because so your goal is to go run in and grab all the gems before there's too many ghosts.
Right, and the ghosts every turn the ghosts spread and multiply. Right.
Yes, and because eventually, if there's enough ghosts in one room, then it becomes one big ghost
that you can't stop, right?
Well, you have to have 2 people in the same room to destroy that ghost.
Right. So sometimes somebody can get stuck in that room and can't get out, right?
Yeah.
And they gotta be saved. Yeah.
Because that ghost it's very hard to beat even with 2 people.
Yeah, and it's big and scary. But it's not necessarily a really hard game, but it's still a fun game, right? We're trying to manage these
run
ghosts.
In, grab the gems, get out, and fight a few ghosts along the way to keep the ghost level down.
Yeah, totally. Super fun game. Ghost Fighting Treasure Hunters, your number 1. All right. Yeah, well, here I guess this is it. So I hope everybody enjoyed watching. Next time we're gonna do
the H's.
The H's. I hope everybody enjoyed watching this, and I'll put links down below to Board Game Geek if you want to check them out, more about these games. And I guess we'll see you next time. Hi, my name is Evan.
Whoa! My name is Grayson.